There's only one shortcut to becoming an expert. Do you know what that is? Just cut short your excuses. Because with excuses, you will not become an expert. My name is Falake Eluokun, and for years I wanted to be a YouTuber. I wanted to make videos on YouTube. But you see, I didn't have enough time. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the money to figure out what I needed to figure out. Until one day I realized, wait a minute, sister. Becoming an expert in anything, first, I have to make a decision. Do I want it, and why do I want to be an expert? An expert is someone who spends time, talent, and treasure to obtain skills, knowledge, to become whatever they want to become. Have you ever wondered how come some of us can ride a bike and some of us can't? Another of us can drive a car and some of us can't. Have you ever imagined what it took for you to drive a car, or to use a computer, or to be skillful in anything that you're skillful in? First of all, you have to know that you don't know what you don't know. Yes, you don't know what you don't know. For instance, I'm going to take driving, for example. When I couldn't drive, I didn't know that I didn't know how to drive because I was a kid. And as I was growing older, it dawned on me one day that people who could drive seemed to have more freedom of their time because they could go places without waiting on the bus or waiting on another person to give them a ride. Then it came to my awareness, girl, you don't know how to drive. That was the first thing. Then I had to ask myself, do I want to learn how to drive? At first, I didn't want to learn because I was terrified. I couldn't imagine me sitting in the car and trying to figure out what the other drivers were doing. Except that I always sat in a car, except I wasn't the driver. Remember? I was in cars, but I wasn't the driver. Then it dawned on me, wait a minute, girl. You got to find the time and find the person to teach you how to drive a car. Back then, we drove stick shift cars. They were not automatic. There was the brake, there was the accelerator, and the clutch. The accelerator was on the rightmost part of the vehicle, of the driver's side. That is where you press to accelerate the car. Remember, I'm telling you this story. In the middle was the clutch. The clutch was where you pedal down or pedal up the gear shift to change the shift of the gear of the car. And at the end was the brakes. I might have turned the brakes and the clutch upside down or wrong side. I can't remember, but one thing I remember, the acceleration is on the right and the gear and the brakes were on the other side. The reason that this is important is when my instructor said to me to gas up, that means press on the acceleration, because I wasn't clear, I stepped on the brakes and the car jerked. That almost caused an accident because the car behind me did not expect me to stop when I did. And then when he said, now it's time to press on the brakes, I pressed the acceleration full force and my car went from 0 to 1,000,000 miles. Like fast. Fast forward to now. I drive smoothly. I know how to stop. I know how to accelerate. My car movements are not jerky. Did you know it took time? It took dedication. It took me learning and practicing regularly. When I first came to America, I knew in my head how to drive, and I drove a little bit in Nigeria, but I was out of practice. And the roads here, they were different. I was so terrified. I remember driving a Volvo from the airport and not remembering to change the gears correctly, and I burnt the clutch. So we had to find a ride home. Why is this important? It is important to learn the process of any skill you want to learn. Without learning the process, you're just going to be a novice forever. You have to learn the process until it becomes second nature. And when it becomes second nature, it's almost as if you were born during that process. Wow. Any person you see that is a master of anything that you wish to become has been through 4 steps. They knew that they did not know. Then they knew that they needed to know. Then they knew that they needed to become better. And after a while, they became so good that they didn't even know that they were doing the things that they didn't know before. When I get into a car now, it's almost automatic. I have a routine. I put the door, I sit, I look at my mirror, especially when I'm in a rent car because people change that mirror, the rear view mirror. I put on my seatbelt, I make sure there's gas in the car, because if there's no gas, I'm going to the gas station. And then I press the button because now we have this car with the button. But before I press the button, I make sure I have the keys in my pocket. Here's why. People have been able to start their cars with the key in the house, which is no problem. But when they get somewhere else and stop the car, they can't restart the car because the key was in the house when they started and the car picked it up. But when they traveled, the key was not on their person, so there was no key to help unlock the car. That's why I check that. Why is it important? It's important for you and I to find the process and find the people who will help us through the process. Some people will teach us the process. Some people will be role models for us in the process. Some people will be cheerleaders in the process. Of course, there'll be naysayers. Sometimes you need naysayers to make you determined. So, today, what is that thing you would love to learn that is so elusive? You know why it's elusive? You haven't made it a practice of doing that thing over and over again. You have allowed yourself to be discouraged. The truth is, the only shortcut for you to become an expert is to cut short your excuses. Because if you don't cut short your excuses, they will derail you. I have 3 things I want you to do today. Start today, that's number 1, and commit to practicing regularly. Make it part of your daily routine. Anything you want to learn and become a master of. Second, surround yourself with people who are either doing the same thing or who will support you on your journey. Third, Be disciplined and persevere. This is not a one-man show. You got to push. You got to push. You got to push. When you don't feel like, when you feel like, just keep on keeping on. The reason my videos are going to be better than they are today is because I'm going to press. It took me a little time to get on today, but I am pushing because it dawned on me. The only shortcut to mastery is to cut short my excuses. How about you? If you like what you're hearing, subscribe to this channel, share, and I'll see you when you cut short your excuses.